While the friendly tiffs between Park, Lord and DreamWorks have been well publicised, how much they disagreed creatively was never very well publicised. As such, it seems as if they were eager to get away and be more of their own entity, though whether Sony has proven to be better for them for that, we still don't know. But they have made some of their best movies under them in recent years. After they separated, Aardman went to go on to work for Sony Animation, which they still do to this day, but it seems that they weren't quite finished with experimenting with CGI films, as their first venture with Sony was a movie that looks very different from any movie they've done before. But before we get into that, let's take a look at the plot. At the North Pole, Father Christmas, aka Santa for you Atlanteans out there, played by Jim Broadbent, and his team are doing what you'd expect them to do, sorting out presents for the children of Christmas. But the old rustic sleigh and reindeer method seems to have been phased out for more modern techniques, such as a retro-reflector giant spaceship, thousands of elves doing most of the work while Santa fumbles about aimlessly, whilst his eldest son Stephen, played by Hugh Laurie, does most of the coordinating. Thus Santa seems to be more of a techno-postman than he used to be, as is the thoughts of his father, Grand Santa, aka the previous Santa Claus, played by the graciously returning Bill Nighy. However, there is one person at the pole who still embodies the heart and magic of Christmas, Santa's youngest son, Arthur, played by James McAvoy, who deals with the millions of letters that Santa gets every year. He loves his job and gets to see what all the children love and cherish about Santa think of him, and his endlessly optimistic demeanour means that he's always got a smile on his face. However, due to a technical hitch, a child gets missed on the register. Steve wants to do nothing as his bureaucratic sensibility makes him feel as if there's nothing they can do, and the job's done anyway, and Santa just blindly agrees with him. But Grand Santa tells Arthur that there is a way, and thus it's up to Arthur, Grand Santa, and an elf that's stowed away named Bryony, played by Ashley Jensen, to get the present to the girl before morning. What's really great about this movie is that it's the first Aardman movie to technically have no villain. I mean, there are arguments to be made towards Steve and possibly the military near the end, but neither are really true villains. Steve is just a character who wants something really badly, becoming the new Santa, and while he does do some arguably sinister things, he never goes full-on antagonist, and the military are just trying to do what they think is a good thing. They just lack the context to know what they're really doing. And so it's amazing to truly get that Christmas spirit in this movie, that everyone in the movie makes mistakes, but the other characters help them realise that and help them fix them, and by the end of the movie they're all better people as a result, which is a brilliant way to make a kids movie, especially a Christmas one. That sense of, yeah, you're a bit of a dick, but hey, we can all be, let me just give you a hand, is so British, and it's a great lesson to give to kids and even adults. Plus it really hammers in how important the giving and selflessness of Christmas is, and it's one of the best looking Christmas movies I've ever seen, even if a lot of the locales they go to don't necessarily reflect that, but I'll get into that later. But it does look undoubtedly jolly and festive most of the time, and that's one of the things that makes me love this movie so much. But the other thing is the characters. While this is a bit more of an expansive cast than most Aardman movies, they do all do fantastic jobs. McAvoy's voice is a bit annoying at times, but his optimism and innocence makes him really likeable. Plus McAvoy's a fantastic actor and he really sells the more emotional moments.
How can I ever write another letter saying that Santa cares?
Jim Broadbent proves his worth once again as one of the greatest character actors and Santa actors of all time with his performance.
Here's to me, doing an even better job next year!
Hugh Laurie, while seeming to phone in some bits of his performance, does work in regards to this character, and he has some of the funniest moments in the film.
My S1 festifies the world at 1,860 times the speed of sound!
A returning Imelda Staunton plays Santa's wife, who is a great background character who is clearly totally in control of her life and loves it.
Trelew is on a course of 187.7 degrees from the geographic pole, but as it's the old sleigh, we should allow a drift margin of 1,000 miles either side of the Greenwich Meridian. I've got a sweater for Arthur, your father's pills, and some nice sweet tea.
Bryony is also a tad annoying and not one of the strongest characters, but she does have her moments. But by far the best character in the movie is Grand Santa.
Don't matter what you come up with, son, you may be the next in line, but you'll never get to be Santa unless you knock him off.
Once again, like everything he does, Bill Nighy does an incredible performance as this curmudgeonly, slightly bigoted, stubborn old fart who is still incredibly lovable and has the best lines in the movie by far.
It's impossible.
They used to say it was impossible to teach women to read.
He's also great at providing exposition in the history of the clauses, which are the moments that I always have a great time hearing, and it makes me want to hear more about the history of this family. Seriously, how has that not become a spin-off yet?
I've seen this before. Sleigh fever, they call it.
pressure of Christmas sends a man doolally tap. Santa Claus the 16th got it 1802. Every child that year got a sausage nailed to a piece of bark.
There's also some really cool cameos in the movie too, such as Michael Palin, Eva Longoria, and even my old Chancellor Sanjeev Bhaskar, all of whom do great jobs, even despite having less than 5 minutes of screen time between them. All of these actors and actresses do great jobs, not just with the jokes, but making these characters seem real, not just caricatures, even if some of the voices like Laurie's are a bit jarring in how they sound no different from their real selves. This is a movie that sadly has only recently hit its stride in its popularity and people realising how popular it is. Oh, don't get me wrong, it was very successful when it came out, but it came out around about the same time as The Muppets and Hugo, so not a lot of people saw it at the time. It's only been until recently when people have started to see it and realise how great it is. It's also nice to see Aardman do a road trip style movie. We saw shades of that in Flushed Away, but the sewer sadly doesn't lend itself to many exciting locales. But with Santa's sleigh, we can literally go anywhere, and they really do take advantage of that opportunity, visiting places like Kenya, Mexico, and even Canada.
Toronto's in Canada!
The Santas always come through Canada. Nobody lives here.
And I always loved this narrative in films. I don't know what it is about it, but a literal journey just seems to bear the most opportunities in storytelling. There are some downsides to the movie though. Firstly, while the use of details, motion, and most of the other little details about the animation are stellar in this movie, the designs and faces do look rather odd. I don't know how much of that was either Aardman or Sony, but it does look a tad creepy, which puts this up there with the Polar Express and the Rankin-Bass movies in terms of creepy animated Christmas movies. That, and I feel that there was some lost potential with how the world perceives Santa, as some people in the world, most specifically the military, don't even seem to know that Santa is even a thing. I don't mean that they're not believing, I mean it's like they've never heard of the guy, which is weird. And I do really wish we could hear more of Grand Santa's adventures in the history of the Clauses, but I guess that's the sign of a great movie. You just want to see and know more about it. Overall, After Christmas is an amazing movie and really deserves to be a new Christmas staple, and this was a great first movie for Aardman's collaboration with Sony, and more for Sony than Aardman since it's nice that they have some good animated movies in their portfolio, but of course it was only a matter of time before Aardman got back to their roots, and next year we'd see one of the biggest and best examples of that.